Hello, my friends. Welcome in or welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Amanda, and today we have 3 soul paths for you to choose from regarding a mystery message that is coming straight from Spirit on something that you need to know or may help you in your current situation. Remember, as always, to take what messages are aligning and confirming for you, and kindly leave the rest for someone else. Additionally, these readings are also timeless, so whenever you find it, there will be something here to guide you. So if you're ready to get into it, you can find the timestamp for your reading in the description box or pinned comment section. However, if you'd like me to introduce you to the soul paths, let me do that now. For Soul Path 1, we have Protect Peace with Boundaries, with a mystery card underneath, with the number 2 and the deer, as well as the BC Jade Stone. For Soul Path 2, we have Imagine Possibilities to Expand Horizons, with the number 9, the Northern Lights, and yet another mystery message that will be revealed in your reading, with the Orange Calcite Stone. And for Soul Path 3, we have Release Entanglements and Limiting Beliefs, with the number 5 and the Kelp, and yet again another mystery message which will be revealed in your reading, and the Chrysocolla Stone. So when you feel called, use your intuition to choose the soul path that is calling to you the most, then click on the timestamp in the description box or pinned comment section to skip to your reading, and we will see you over there. Hello, Soul Path 1. Welcome to your reading. So you chose Protect Peace with Boundaries, with the number 2 and the deer. And the mystery card underneath that was Patience. So I feel like you are a very patient person. You have a lot of tolerance for challenging situations or people in your life. However, I'm getting a feeling that more boundaries may need to be implemented in order to protect your good nature. Now, I feel like this could be an application where you need to have patience with yourself on learning that a little bit more, because you could be somebody who is very gentle and flexible and forgiving and allowing. And I feel like there are some people in your life that could potentially take advantage of your kindness, take advantage of your softness, your sweetness, your gentility, your humility. So I feel like there's a certain sense of protection that you need to learn how to do, or maybe you have learned how to do this, and to have patience with something that you're working through. I feel like this is an energy of working through something, of trying to not necessarily perfect it, but to improve something. And with patience too, it's a really nice energy to go with the deer, because deers are very patient. They are connected in and tuned into their environment. And if something they feel is threatening, whether it's a loud sound or a human being coming too close, or even prey that are trying to prey upon them, they quickly move. So it's almost like this energy of holding your ground until such time that you need to take action or move or implement something. But until that time, to have patience with learning about that, about yourself. What are those boundaries? When is that time to implement them or to reinforce them with consequences? And this is all about having balance as well. So it's not always about having boundaries and pushing back and standing up for what you believe in. This is having that, but also maintaining that flexibility and that gentility and that humility in, I want to say, not due course, but in balance. So you're not on one end of the spectrum or another. You can equally find that balance in both at different times. So this message could be about that, on how to align with that a little bit more, or this could just be your energy. which is maybe why you were drawn to the reading. So let's see. We're going to get 4 cards, Spirit, for Soul Path 1. Mystery message on, thank you, what they need to hear. So 7 of Swords. This could be a person around you that is deceptive in some way, that is manipulative, and you're having to navigate around this person. This could also be you implementing some kind of plan or strategy to prepare yourself or protect yourself in a certain situation with a certain someone. So it feels a little aligned with the opening message there, but let's see. One more card for now, for Soul Path 1, please, Spirit. One more, Strongest. Thank you. We have the Chariot. So this definitely feels like you are moving towards something. You're moving towards the light. You're moving towards the end. You have control over the how in terms of how you show up, how you react to things. And it's about having focus. So 7s, you've got 2 7s here. And 2 7s, I feel, are just a confirmation that you have a really good idea about where you're focusing your energy, where you're focusing your thoughts. And maybe it's just about the how now. How do I implement that? How do I make this an integral part of who I am and how I show up? So I think the knowing is there. Now you're starting to implement that. Now you're starting to move or see movement because of that. So let's get one more for now for Soul Path 1. Another card for Soul Path 1. So Knight of Swords. Interesting that this Knight of Swords is in reverse. So there's a movement, but not to move too quickly, too hastily. Maybe avoid people who pressure you or bully you to do something that you don't feel like you want to do. I know that sounds very simple, but if you are somebody who is very flexible and who is very easygoing, and there's somebody here in your circle, in your network around you that is taking advantage of that, then you could succumb to the things that they say to you, the pressure, the guilt, the shame. So this almost feels like movement away from that pressure, movement away from the manipulative energy. And the manipulative energy is for some, not all, but there could be guilt, shame, pressure outside of maybe a specific person. It could be in a situation. But I feel like whatever movement you make, it has to be controlled movement. It can't be quick movement, just for the sake of moving away from or temporarily getting away from a situation. I think Spirit's coming through to tell you to have patience with some kind of process so that you can implement quality. Interesting, implement quality. Or at least implement it in a way that's going to stick for the long term. Because we don't want quick, fast solutions. Those may not be something that stick around for very long, and then you find yourself back in the same situation or with the same people. This is about really slowing down to understand the how. I know that I need to. I know what I need to do, but it's the how that needs to be worked through. And it has to be done very strategically. Maybe you have to kind of think about a plan of here's A, B, and C on depending on how this scenario or situation goes, how I will react or how I will decide in the moment. One more card. Almost what your, not your limits, but what are your terms and conditions? What is your personal policy to interacting in this specific scenario or situation? So what are you willing to give? What are you willing to be flexible on, and what are you not? And then we have the Emperor. This is definitely about coming into control, self-control, controlling your reactions, controlling not necessarily the outcome, because you cannot control other people, but you can control how and when you participate or show up or be around them, how you communicate with them. And so to give some thought on that particular thing. And the Emperor is somebody, it's an energy of building something of value, something that will be stable and secure and rooted and grounded in your vision. So I think that just clarifies my previous message about this isn't about moving away from and quickly reacting to something to get away from it or to move away from the discomfort. This is almost facing that discomfort in a very strategic way, but pre-planning on these are my limits, these are my boundaries, this is what I'm willing to be flexible on, this is what I'm not, and then giving some thought on how you can live those values. Bottom of the deck, we do have the Nine of Swords. So I do see that there is possibly some significant worry here, some anxiety, some things that are weighing heavy on your mind, because this might not be something that you want to do. Maybe pushing back or saying no or standing up for the boundaries and those policies, those terms and conditions are really uncomfortable for you. This isn't something that you may be used to or comfortable with. It's about practice. It's about patience. It's about moving in that direction at a very slow pace and not feel pressured to change your mind, to give in when you feel that pressure from others. So let's clarify the Seven of Swords. Okay, that disappeared, so it clearly didn't want to come out. Seven of Swords. I was going to grab it. Usually I like to wait for flippers. Okay. I will read them both, but I can't keep them both on the table. We have the Wheel of Fortune and then the King of Wands here. So again, your vision is coming through, but it's being blocked by some of maybe the external changes or the external circumstances that you find yourself in. But it's coming back into that power of really stepping into your confidence and that visionary thinking or envisioning what you want to happen and doing your best. It might not be in the way that you want, but I feel like you can do your best based on how you feel you want to show up. And regardless of how the outcome, like what happens in the outcome, that's almost insignificant. You have your terms, your conditions, your policies, your boundaries, and therefore that's what you're going to show up for. And if the other person doesn't like it, or if they react in some way, then all you can do is to continue to show up for yourself, to push back, and hopefully have those boundaries respected. But with the Wheel of Fortune, it always reminds us that we can find our center in times of change so that we are less affected by the things that are happening in our external world. We don't want to show up and react for everything and try to control all of the outcomes, because that's just not possible. So we do our best to find respite in times of change. We do our best to be flexible during this time so that we aren't thrown about and completely thrown off. We react to things and do what we need to do, but also step out of kind of the outer circle of that change for a time so that we aren't completely affected by whatever's going on. There's almost I'm feeling that there's a choice to step out of or step off of the merry-go-round here. And the King of Wands could be somebody that you're dealing with that is quite arrogant, that is quite sharp-tongued, and maybe even a narcissist. So we have to ask ourselves in these situations, can we show up in this particular dynamic as authentic as we can without reacting, without feeding this black hole, this never-ending cycle that just sucks you in and keeps you in, or Do we have a choice of keeping things kind of at a high level and not reacting? And if it gets to a certain level, then can we step out or step away from this dynamic? So again, coming back to that planning and strategy of what if we find ourselves in a particular situation or up against a certain energy? How are we going to deal with that? And I feel having patience with yourself is going to be really important in this. So the Chariot, let's clarify the Chariot. I'm getting a lot of cycles energy here as well. The Chariot, please. Clarify the Chariot. A lot of birds, well, I don't want to say a lot. A couple of birds, so I feel like you do want to move away from and have a more peaceful, harmonious life. Something that is going to make you feel fulfilled and have it be a reciprocal dynamic or relationship. Now, this could be a romantic relationship, it could be a platonic relationship, or it could be the relationship with self, or just something that you're looking for in general. There's some mature choices that I feel will need to happen here. And the Lovers is all about choice and committing to those choices. That is for our highest good and moving towards that. This is also about coming into balance and harmony with that. So if we find ourselves in a situation that feels imbalanced, how are we correcting that imbalance if we can? Are we communicating our needs, our wants, our thoughts, our opinions? And are we in a reciprocal relationship where we can do that in a healthy manner? Or are we coming up against resistance and fights and guilt and shame when we are expressing our needs or our truth and having that fall on deaf ears? Knight of Swords in reverse. Strongest for Knight of Swords in reverse. I'm getting this is about enforcing your power, but not in a controlling, dominant way. I'm just looking at the Emperor. It's standing out as somebody who's not forceful, but is not willing to sacrifice anything less than what they want or deserve. Not in a selfish way, not in a stubborn way, not in an inflexible way, but in a way that's protective and safe and secure. And we have the Devil in reverse. Okay. So to me, this just confirms that you are possibly releasing an attachment to something. Possibly it's not going to be comfortable doing this, but I feel like you're finding yourself in a situation that you realize it's not going to change. So the only way that it's going to change is not by you continually trying to force change or tell this person or be in this situation until such time that it changes. It's about making new choices. And I think you're seeing things really clearly for what they are. And to move away from an energy that no longer is serving us, it could take time. So again, coming back to that patience card, being really compassionate with yourself, gentle with yourself, removing all shame, fear, and doubt from your energetic and mental body. Much easier said than done. But in order for us to detach, we have to be okay with how this other person might think. And there's a really beautiful poem, and I cannot remember the name, but it's called Let Them. And if they want to have a specific truth or reality about you and they're not willing to compromise that truth or get to know you on a deeper level or understand your point of view, then let them walk away. Let them have their theories, their thoughts, their stories. That is their loss. And again, that is an easier said than done thing. But if you've done your part to try to improve or change the situation and it is not, then you have to make a new plan. You have to make new choices. And you have to come into some kind of self-protective state where your truth and your authority goes above and beyond what this other person's thoughts, opinions, or story is about who you are. Let them think what they want to think if they are not willing to look at the different side of you, a different part of you. So we have Ace of Wands here in the reverse. I feel like some kind of spark has died here. And so it's almost like you have to let it go. You have to let the idea of what you thought this would be, let it go in favor of your own authority, rather than try to maybe make it something that it's not. I feel like this has been very mentally fatiguing for you, mentally exhausting for you, because I feel like you're the only one putting this much consideration into the dynamic and trying to improve things and help things and make it change and get better. But I think you have to let go of the willingness to give it your all, at least until they show their willingness to give it their all. Again, coming back to that reciprocal energy of balance and harmony, of taking action towards the shared goal. And I don't think there is a shared goal here, so you have to consider what you are willing to sacrifice. We're going to get a final oracle message to end your reading. What else does Soul Path 1 need to know? Look at this. Beautiful. Unleash the wild within with She-Wolf. This is, I don't want to say enforcing, reinstating your power and showing the world who else you can be. I feel like you've been a certain way for a really long time. There's a feeling of, I want to be liked. And that's not a bad thing. Everybody wants to be liked. But I think this situation or this experience requires you to tap into your wild self. The one that is fierce. The one that is not afraid. The bold warrior, I'm hearing. The one that is willing to stand up, speak up for herself. This is being alpha of your life, of your story, and not be afraid to stand out, to be unfiltered, and to be unchained, essentially, from whatever it is that is keeping you small or feeling insecure or feeling unprotected. So this is about breaking boundaries and breaking beyond, maybe tapping into a more wilder, expressive side of you. You can still be this, but you can also be this. And I think you're going to be re-inspired once you connect in with that wild side, once you connect in with your own sense of authority and stability, and releasing maybe certain people that are kind of making you feel a little off balance, off kilter, unsettled, even hurt. So this is what I have for you, Soul Path 1. I hope you found some clarity and guidance today. Personal readings are available on my website, which you can find the link for in the description box. And with gratitude, I'm sending you all my love, and we'll see you in your next reading. Hello, Soul Path 2. Welcome to your reading. So you chose the Imagine card with the number 9. Imagine possibilities to expand horizons. And the card underneath was Truth. So I almost wonder if there's some kind of truth in the things that you are imagining, or to imagine the possibilities, you have to discover some kind of truth. Something that you feel is out of reach, or too good to be true, or a little too whimsical or magical. I think there's something within your higher self, your inner wisdom, that is telling you that there's something more. There's something deeper that is available to you. And the only way to do that is to step into your truth, to be unwavering in that truth, aligning to that truth. Maybe a sense of trust as well. So we will get 4 cards, but we're going to do them one by one. So one card for Soul Path 2, the mystery message. which may or may not align with this. This could just be the energy that you are embracing at this time, and the mystery message could be a little different, or it could be connected. It was connected in Soul Path 1, so let's see how this goes. 5 of Swords in the reverse. So there could be some energies that you are trying to move away from at this time, possible inner conflict or conflict with others. You're stepping away from the drama, or maybe this is some advice. In order for you to imagine these big, wonderful things that you want to manifest or bring in or attract into your life, you have to move away from the energies that are keeping you distracted from that are naysaying or telling you that you can't. Energies that are trying to keep you small, maybe out of good intention to keep you safe, but there could be an environment that you find yourself in where it's just you're spending a lot of time arguing or trying to be heard or trying to be understood, and it feels futile because nothing is changing. Everybody is kind of arguing and nobody's really listening to each other. And so that's really tough to share your truth and to step into the possibilities when your energy is elsewhere, when your energy is being spent in that exhaustive energy. But I feel like this is going to be really helpful for you. 5s are this kind of pivot point or the bridge between our past and our future. So finding yourself in this situation or feeling this inner conflict, maybe trying to tell you something or share some kind of lesson or point you into some kind of right direction. Redirection is what I'm hearing. Maybe it's trying to direct you to the possibilities. Let's see, one other card for Soul Path 2. What would you like to share with them today? Soul Path 2. What would you like to share with them? One card, please. Thank you. Temperance. So this is about process and moderation. I'm even getting truce. Because this wolf would easily eat up this lamb. But there's a need for something greater, a need for survival. Agreeing to disagree and moving on so that you can stop going around in circles. And there's also this patience energy coming through as well, where you need to go straight down the middle. You can't be too far on one side or another, and vice versa. In order to find that balance, you have to be partially grounded in your own truth or reality or story or goal, and partially in the environment that you find yourself in, but not so involved that you get wrapped up and swept up in this argumentative energy or this contentious energy. This is about I'm feeling time out for some reason with the Temperance. Let's get more. Soul Path 2. And we have the Page of Swords. And quickly just going back to the Temperance, it's also about experimentation as well, where you're trying something new and seeing how that works and kind of gathering information and then trying something a little bit differently next time, adjusting, tweaking, so that you can get to this point where it's starting to flow again. The energy is starting to flow. Page of Swords, again, a little bit of a stormy energy coming through, but this is also an openness to learn to navigate the storm, to communicate differently, to be open to thinking a different way, strategizing a different way. Also understanding your power as well, and how are you wielding that power. Expanding your horizons will require you to open up to a new way of thinking, open up to implementing and applying what you've learned, and to not be stuck on a specific way of doing something. One more for Soul Path 2. And I feel that's where that experimentation comes in. It's about learning something and then trying it, seeing how it goes, gathering information, learning a little bit more, and leveling up that knowledge. 8 of Wands, which is communication. Swords can also be about communication. Eight of Wands can also be about manifestation, travel. So I feel like this is your possibilities, the possibilities coming true. Maybe there is a sense of travel here where you need to travel away from or travel to a specific place in order to grow, see growth, and move into your own sense of possibility, whatever that possibility is. And bottom of the deck, we have the Five of Cups. So I feel like where you're at, you might be feeling a little bit sad, but this definitely feels like a redirection or a realignment. Putting your focus to where you want to go, not where you are or what you're trying to resolve in a particular circumstance. This is focusing on, I want this to happen, or I want to feel this, I want to experience this, and then slowly moving in that direction and learning along the way. Obviously processing the things that you need to process when it comes to letting go or grief or sorrow or sadness. Again, we have another number 5. So I think you're moving through some significant change that is possibly redirecting you to a higher truth, a stronger truth, a truth that is aligned with who you are at the core, maybe the growth that you want to see in your life. Let's get information on this Five of Swords in reverse. Five of Swords in reverse. Do we take that? I'm very indecisive. I usually like to take the strongest flipper, but this one flipped twice. And I almost wonder if that's your energy too, where it's like, well, is it really going to get better? This feels like it could change, shift, without me having to make any further improvements or actions. But I don't know. Queen of Swords in reverse. So we have some more thinking energy here, some more sword energy. I think this has really maybe have you feeling a little bit foggy or confused or reactive. And I don't feel that's the energy you want to be in. I'm getting a sharpness in my stomach. So is there a physical aspect to this that you are dealing with because of the stress and the anxiety of this tension that continues to hang around? And again, the Queen of Swords, she's in the upright. She's usually very good at cutting things out that are no longer working for her. She's very good at observing and taking things in, being a really good listener, of also stepping into her truth, expressing that truth. But all of that I feel is really foggy at this time. I think because of either this internal tension that you're feeling, maybe there's a bit of an internal battle going on, maybe because of this grief that you might be feeling, and this tension between where you are and where you want to go. Or it could be an external tension with other people or within a team that is really having you feel reactive and not like yourself. I don't think you want to be in this. You want to be in your truth. You want to be heard. I think you could possibly be a very good listener in the right circumstance, in the right environment. But this one I feel has you really on edge. So it's really hard to imagine anything but this when you're in it. So how can you find, coming back to the Temperance, how can you find a better balance of stepping into it to learn and to gain some knowledge, but also not being so involved that you're in it and it consumes you? Might be hard for certain circumstances, especially if you're in a relationship or if you're working on a team and you have to be on that team and talk to that team, every day. It can be really tough, but you can still find moments where, and even hopefully make choices where you can step out or choose not to participate or share your thoughts, ideas, opinions, or maybe find respite from it so that you don't get too sucked in to the madness. And the Devil in reverse. So this is about attaching yourself to, or detaching, I should say, coming into this truce energy or agreeing to disagree so that you can find a better balance. You can move down the middle and you're not leaning towards one side or another. That doesn't mean that you're accepting this person's truth as sacred. It just means that you're agreeing to disagree for the sake of your peace and your sanity. There's a sense of how important is it for you to be involved in this particular situation and to continue to participate in this tension. I feel there's some detachment here, and with that detachment comes a lot more peace for you, a lot more balance. But it requires patience, and it requires possibly for you to experiment with different ways of doing things, different ways of communicating possibly. And there's a flexibility here as well. And again, that's not to say let people walk all over you or abuse you or say awful things to you. Have those boundaries in place, yes. But boundaries can also look like walking away and choosing not to participate at all. Again, if at all possible. 9 of Pentacles in reverse. So I think that you are going to be letting go of a certain sense of security or comfort, maybe even a certain sense of pride. And there's a bit of, I'm getting 8 of Cups energy here, interestingly enough, that it hasn't shown up. But this is knowing what battles to fight and knowing what battles are not worth the fight and walking away from that. And this is a sense of you really being okay with moving away from what is known for something new. Doesn't necessarily have to be an unknown, but it could be. But it's just the things that you once thought were safe, secure, comfortable are no longer feeling that way. So it's you trying to find a new way, a new path, a new way forward. And there is a sense with the 9 of Pentacles being in reverse, there's a slight possibility of codependence here, which I feel that you could be walking away from, but it requires you to learn, again, a new way of participating, a new way of thinking. Maybe even having a new belief system about yourself and being flexible in that and not seeing it as a failure if this situation doesn't improve. You, I feel, are not the only one in this situation. There could be multiple people. So just because it's not working, that you don't have the power to change it, does not mean you failed. So I feel the removal of guilt and shame needs to be let go of. And 8 of Wands. What is this 8 of Wands? Don't be afraid to disappoint people in order to maintain your safety, security, integrity. And we have the Fool in reverse. So really cool that you have a brand new, fresh start here. But it's going to require a little bit of risk. And 8 of Wands is kind of that movement towards that thing. The willingness. If you have that willingness to move towards the energy that you want to be in, the feeling, the place. It's about taking a little bit of risk and stepping outside of what you're used to. With that could be some grief involved because you are letting go of an old you or an old structure, what you thought could have been or should have been, into the wild unknown, I'm hearing. And there could be a lot of doubt or nerves in that. Maybe a feeling like you can't do it or you're not capable. But I almost get with the 8 of Wands that the 8 of Wands, there's fast movement, but the Fool is almost a little bit of a caution of not going too quickly. And if you go too quickly, without really integrating lessons or processing what's happening and where you actually want to go in all of this, then you might not see it. You might not see the fresh start, or you might not see the opportunities or the possibilities. So to move, but to not move too quickly, because you might overlook something, you might bypass something, you might take too many risks in that process. So let's get a final too many oracle card to end your reading. Actually, I did not shuffle these. I should shuffle. Final oracle card to end the reading. Final. Soul Path 2. Final. There's too many there too as well. Just one. One, please, Spirit. Yes. Ooh. So, Protection Guardian. Soul Path 1 might be of interest to you. There was similar messaging with the protection of the initial oracle message. And this Protection Guardian is about dropping any shields of shame, resistance, and fear that are standing between you and your chances of enjoyment and fun. That's almost what I feel with this. Even though it's depicted differently in the Rider-Waite-Smith, this is like celebration. And we have the rainbow here, which is more colorful. But there's a sense of, are you willing to make the move, to manifest or take action towards those intentions and those possibilities? Are you willing to take that risk? Are you willing to make the difficult decisions to move through or navigate the storms? So first, it's about identifying the things that maybe you don't want in your life, the energy, the feelings, the situations, maybe even the people, and then dropping any shame that you might have and the resistance to moving to something different, something that is more aligned. And also removing the fear of taking that action and getting into a zone of discomfort. Because the Fool in reverse could indicate that fear of stepping into the new because it's unknown. And this is a protective energy. And it's like this indestructible shield of power and protection. So it's about dropping those fears and moving into a more loving, protective energy that will keep you safe but allow your gifts to shine outwardly. So not having so many boundaries up and barriers and blocks that you are blocking the bad stuff, but also you're blocking the good stuff, and you're blocking the ability to allow things to enter your energetic field, the good stuff. So there's a serenity here, there's a confidence, because there's a loving protectiveness of knowing when to put up those shields and knowing when to drop the shields and knowing which shields to drop. So you're not moving from a place of fear or shame or guilt, you're moving from a place of love and happiness and joy, which I think this is. So it might be a little bit of a different shift for you, which I think why this Page of Swords is here is because it's going to require you to drop some comfort, to drop some of that insecurity or that shame or fear that you have about stepping into some kind of power, stepping into your higher truth, imagining possibilities beyond your current experience. And it's about moving beyond the limiting thoughts, emotions, and patterns that may be making you feel unsafe. I think you're stronger than you think, and this experience is getting you to awaken that part of you. So this is what I have for you, Soul Path 2. I hope you found some clarity and guidance today. Personal readings are available on my website, which you can find in the link in the description box. And with gratitude, I'm sending you my love, and we'll see you in your next reading. Hello, Soul Path 3. Welcome to your reading. So you chose the Release Entanglements and Limiting Beliefs card with the number 5 and the Kelp with the Chrysocolla stone. And we have Courage, which was the card underneath that. So I think whatever you're stepping into is going to require some level of courage. I'm getting Soul Path 2 vibes here. It's interesting that all of these messages are somehow linked, but the messages are different. Really interesting. But you might be in a bit of a situation where things are getting a little uncomfortable. Maybe you feel a sense of suffocation, or like you can't express yourself in the way that you want. So you're getting entangled in a situation or with somebody that makes you feel really held back, held down, and like you can't really be independent or authentically you. Now, this could also be because you might have some limiting beliefs about yourself, which is holding you back. So this could be not necessarily somebody in your external world, but you almost waiting for permission to express yourself or to put yourself out there in some way. So you're entangled in some story that you're telling yourself, and you're not able to do the thing that you want. And I don't know what that is, but whatever this is, I feel like you are going to be called upon to have a little courage to step into a new way of believing or thinking about yourself or feeling about yourself. So there is a confidence here that you are building up on, and the courageousness to step into that, regardless of what others say, regardless of maybe what your past experiences have been, regardless of the stories that you might be telling yourself about yourself. So let's get some cards now. For Soul Path 3 Spirit, what are this mystery message? So 2 of Cups in the reverse. This feels like either a connection with somebody or a connection with self that is disconnected or feeling a little bit upside down or disharmonious in some way. There is possibly a love lost, or you're not feeling quite aligned with this person, or you don't have great feelings about yourself. And I think this is part of this limiting belief or entanglement that is coming up right now, is that there is a disconnect between the way you want to feel and what you actually feel. And it's going to take a little bit of courage for you to break beyond that. Soul Path 3. Another card, please, for Soul Path 3. 10 of Swords in reverse. Something needs to be let go of here. It has come to a natural end. This could be something from your past. It could be a person. It could be maybe the lens that you're seeing life through is something from the past. So you're seeing yourself currently from the perspective of that 16-year-old self that wasn't quite confident in themselves, that wasn't feeling like they could express themselves in the way that they wanted. So I feel that needs to be let go of, because I don't think that's your current story now. That is not your current reality. This reality requires the real you to shine, or I'm hearing developed you, in a sense where you've grown, you've experienced. There's maybe even a spirituality that has been developed or created or fostered. And so it's time now to let that old you go. The old belief system, the old story go. Because it's been held onto for so long, and I think it's really been painful for you to hang on to this. It could be an experience that you had in your youth that has defined you to some degree. And it's going to take some courage to redefine that, to let it go, to thank it for its service and its protection or its lessons. But now it's time for you to step into a new story. The story that is your current reality, the new you, the stronger you. We have the Ace of Cups in reverse. It's going to not only require courage to do this, but a little bit of vulnerability. It's going to require you to tap into your deepest love of yourself and possibly give focus to a certain part of you that feels vulnerable. There is a feeling of healing here, of mothering that younger self that felt hurt by somebody or something. There's a healing message coming through. There's a mothering energy coming through. And I feel like if you cannot get that energy or support from somebody in your life, then this has to be coming from you. To care for, to comfort, to give love to that self that is hurt, that is feeling overwhelmed, that is feeling unseen or unheard, that is feeling unloved even. You have to offer that love to self, compassion for, because whatever the entanglement is, I feel like it's been quite draining for you, emotionally speaking, quite painful. This is time to release that now. Release that story. Stepping into a more powerful story, a more courageous story, a bolder story. 5 of Wands in the upright. Another 5 here. So you may be feeling opposition about doing this. Maybe you're feeling like you're unable to, or there's a fear, because what does that mean if I do this? Or if I move beyond it, or if I change the story, or there's definitely a resistance coming through with that 5. And maybe that's simply just navigating the situation in a way that you're a little unsure of, so it's creating a little bit of tension. You have a goal. You have a need to move beyond this. But it's tricky. It could be causing tension with others. It could be causing tension within self. Or maybe it's simply this opposition that you're feeling, that I feel differently now, or I want to have a stronger sense of purpose in my life. And so in order to do that, I have to navigate some difficult things, maybe have some difficult conversations, some discomfort. Maybe there's competing needs or wants here. So you're kind of unclear about what it is I need to keep and what it is I need to release. And we have the Tower card underneath the deck in the reverse, which I feel is knowing that things need to change, of taking action to make these changes because you are done feeling like this. So I feel like this is the action that you're taking to release the entanglements and limiting beliefs that you've experienced in your past. And it's going to be a little tricky. It's going to be a little sticky. It could cause some ruffled feathers with others, maybe even within you. It might bring up some things as you move through this healing energy and kind of get back to self. But this is determined energy. This is, I'm going to move through this difficulty with purpose, with great heart and ambition. And this is what's going to create the change. Whether you know it or not, this action is going to start creating change because you're starting to take action on the things that you want to see change for. So you're actively letting all of this go, whatever this story is. And it's making way for the new. 2 of Cups, let's clarify now. 2 of Cups in reverse. There we go. There's your clarity. Queen of Swords. So this is observing how you feel, how you think, what you believe, and how you react to certain things. How you show up. What are the choices that you make in situations that are difficult, in situations that are even joyful? or challenging. It's about observing your feelings in the moment, bringing awareness to and learning from as it's happening, or even reflecting on later in the day. But Queen of Swords is this observant energy. She listens really well. So I feel you have to listen to a certain part of you that is feeling unloved or imbalanced, that is feeling disconnected from the harmony and joy that you seek. This is about overcoming and getting a higher perspective on what you're experiencing or feeling. Not necessarily to continue to identify with a particular story, but to almost detach yourself and cut out the stuff that you don't need. The thoughts, the feelings, the things that are just not helping you move forward, that are keeping you stuck in some kind of past. And I think through this, you're going to see a new way forward. You're going to learn something about yourself, which is going to help you move through this. The Ten of Swords in reverse is the Strength in reverse. So whatever this Ten of Swords is, I feel that it really prevented you from stepping into your confidence, your leadership, giving yourself compassion and grace. You were in a state of survival, in a state of reactivity. So I feel like whatever this story is no longer your current reality. It is in the past, it is gone, but you still identify with it. So it's bringing a little bit of compassion back, understanding why you might have reacted or shown up in the way that you did because you were in survival mode. You can't be authentically yourself when you are fearful, when you are stressed, when you are trying to navigate very difficult energy. So again, it's having the resilience to move through and let go of officially with great confidence, and learning to tame the automatic responses that happens maybe in certain situations or when somebody says something a specific way. I'm almost getting flashbacks with this, in a sense where somebody says something or does something to you and you go right back to that younger you that experienced something far more difficult and painful, and so you react from that place. But I think this is time to let a little bit of that go, bringing back your confidence and strength, which I feel is a little more of a gentle energy than it is forceful. Ace of Cups in reverse. It's too many. Ace of Cups in reverse. Ace of Cups in reverse, please. Two of Swords. Right. So this is a feeling of you feeling in a bit of a stuck energy because you feel overwhelmed. You don't know what to choose because there's an old pattern or story or thought, belief that is holding you back, that is kind of pulling you back, but then there's this new pathway that you know you'll have to face some difficulty. So there's no real good choice in this. It's either I stay where I am or I move on to something that I know is going to be challenging and difficult to move through. But I almost feel like it's going to be so worth it. So I think with the Two of Swords, it's about understanding that there's an intuitive knowing that this is not healthy for me to stay here, metaphorically speaking. So it's about making the choice, maybe not out of stress or fear or overwhelm, but leaning into your intuition, your higher self, to ask, what is the best option for me at this time, and how can I move towards that a little bit more? What are the choices that I can make that will align me to that higher purpose or that greater fulfillment? Five of Wands. Whoops. Let's do Five of Wands. Yeah, this isn't going to come from a logical perspective. It's going to come from your intuition. Star card. I love it. This is about healing and moving through that difficulty of healing, which is essentially going to create significant change in your life. And so you realize that things will be challenging, things will be difficult, but it's going to move me to such a better place. Healing is difficult, but it can be very beautiful once you get to the other side of it. So it's really about learning and understanding how you can move through this in the best way possible, maybe with support if it's really difficult. And I feel that is why this courage card was part of this message, is because it will require your courage. It will require a lot of strength, but I feel you have that in you. And if you don't believe that, the star is here to remind you that there are better things ahead and that you do have the courage to heal and to move towards your big dreams. And I will say support could be very helpful. I don't know if I said that, but having support, whether that is group support, whether that is a book club or a group support network where people share their stories and can offer a sense of mutual support, or it could be a therapist, a counselor that deals with your specific situation. I feel that that could be of help to you. And that could be part of this Queen of Swords energy, where you are leaning on somebody in the external world that can give you that higher perspective, that deeper understanding of your situation, and maybe what you went through and how it has affected your life in the current reality. There we go. This is beautiful energy. Track down your fears and desires. And I think that's this whole message, is that you are looking at your fears. You are looking at the things that are difficult and challenging. And you are also simultaneously looking at the things that you want to achieve. What are these desires? What is my North Star? And continuing to align with that and to embrace this hunter energy, to know that you are empowered in this energy, that you aren't defined by, but you're willing to stand up for, get curious about, and to explore this, as difficult as it might be. That you don't have to be defined by this story anymore. To be fearless and courageous in that process. And your fears are the only things that are standing between you and what you desire. So you have to come face to face with them. And I think that is what you're doing or going to do in the very near future. It's facing them to be able to move beyond them officially and for good, to heal from them, to feel them, to navigate them, to make space for the good stuff. We don't want to be dragged down by these entanglements and limiting beliefs anymore. And this is a stone of communication as well. So expressing that somehow, maybe with that group or with a professional, might be really helpful for you. And when we allow our fears or those doubts to overcome us, we end up getting buried by them. So right now I feel like Spirit's trying to give you confidence and strength, so you use your power to make a difference in your life, to realize your fullest potential. But it can only occur when you step up and do the work, whatever work that is that you're feeling called to do at this time. You are not here to cower away or live in the shadows. So I feel like this is a time where you're being faced with this opportunity of an aspect of your past, or bring closure to a situation that has been haunting you and sticking around for longer than you've wanted. It's about understanding yourself on a deeper level and really tapping into the strength and the power to overcome all of your limitations. Wow, powerful reading, Soul Path 3. I hope you found some clarity and guidance today. Personal readings are available on my website, which you can find the link for in the description box. And with gratitude, I'm sending you my love, and I'll see you in your next reading.